All right, I'm officially live. I'm gonna be live for a little bit. Let me see if some people come in. I'm quite sure other people are live right now. So shout out to the replay crew. By the way, I appreciate you guys rewatching my videos and supporting in that way. Y'all know my favorite numbers are 3 and 10. So by the time I get 3 or either 10 people in here, I'm gonna start talking because I don't want to have to repeat myself. I guess I should have shared my video out on my community page too. So let me do that.
I guess I should have shared my video out on my.
Let me go here. If not, I'll just start talking and somebody will replay if it's meant for them to rewatch it. Okay, let's see. All right, come on. My favorite number is almost here. 10 people. Let me get started. Let's see, I'm live. Okay, 13 people. Hey, Carrie, I miss you, boo. Carrie, before this is over, at some point, if you want to hit the link, I'll explain to you why you maybe haven't seen me on your channel or why you haven't seen me, on my channel too much. But I don't want to put that. I don't want to put that all out here for YouTube like that, right? But I was watching you the other day. I was in the clouds, listening over there. So I try to listen in and support when I can, but I'm not as active as I was before. I'm starting to try to get back into being active. I've been over there on Lovely Love's panel and over there with Tracy. She's doing something. Hey Viv, it's good to see you. And prayers to Viv as well. She just recently lost somebody. I know she didn't put that out there, but she actually, had just basically lost just 2 people. But so I want to say this. I don't know if you guys have heard the news that Sees Too Much. I know her as Sees Too Much. When I came on to YouTube, that was her name. Her name was Sees Too Much. That's the name she went by. Later on, she changed her name to Fresh Press Juice. And the reason why I wanted to do this live was because a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, we come on here and we roast and we gag and all that other stuff, but people are passing. And for real, this is real life. And the crazy part is I saw her in, I don't remember whose chat it was. I saw her in there and she was saying that she needed to talk to me. And she was like, you have me blocked. And I was like, I don't have you blocked, which a lot of people be telling me that they're blocked or whatever. And I was like, I don't have you blocked or whatever. And she was like, unblock me. I need to talk to you. And I had said to her, my phone number is still the same. I get it. I mean, people done heard me play phone recordings on here, so I'm not knocking somebody for not, for not reaching out or whatever. I get it. But now hearing that she passed, it makes me wonder, what is it that she wanted to talk to me about? And that's why I would just prefer, like, if it's a person that has an issue with me, I'd rather they hit the link, or I'd rather that we talk about it, because it might not even be like she's thinking I blocked her. I felt like she blocked me, but I wasn't beefing. I know how to move around. But when she said, I need to talk to you about something, I don't know what that something was. It could have been YouTube stuff. It could have been whatever. I don't know what it was. But back early on when I first came on YouTube, me and C's used to literally sit and be on the phone talking. You know what I'm saying? We've been on the phone talking for hours and stuff. Sometimes we would do group conference calls and stuff like that. And C's would be on the call. Crystal King would be on those calls as well. And when I had heard the news of Crystal King passing, I didn't make a video or anything like that. I didn't make a video about her death, because I feel like, me and Crystal, we used to sit and we used to talk on the phone. I'm not for sure who you are, but this live is not for you, hun. This is not just an open live for anybody. And that looks like Rick Reed on your profile picture. I'm not going to let you come up here with other content creators' pictures as your profiles. I don't care if those people don't mess with me or not. Like, you're not gonna come up here and do that. But anyway, so when I heard that Crystal had passed away, I was like, wow. Oh my God. Why did I put the link in there? Let me just ignore the back chat for a minute because they doing the most. So when I heard that Crystal had passed away, I was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Because that's somebody that I literally used to talk to like every single day on the phone. A lot of people might not know that, but that's what we used to do. But being as though me and her had separated, or however you want to put it, I didn't feel it was appropriate for me to make a video and get clicks and views off of her death if I wasn't checking for her while she was making content, or if we were not engaging in the chats. But there was a situation that had came up like a year and a half ago, and Crystal had reached out to me. It was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I was actually live, and I answered the phone. And no, I think I ended up coming back live. It was like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and it was Crystal on the phone. And so we had talked, and I felt like any issue or anything, we squashed it on that phone call. So for me, it was dead for me. I didn't hold any animosity towards her or anything like that. I was really sad to hear about her passing, but I didn't post anything about it on my wall. I didn't do any videos about it or anything like that. When Polo passed, you guys know I was on a live. And then I went to another live, and then I found out that she had passed away. I don't know if you guys know this or whatever, but me and Polo, we used to have a show that we did together, like a podcast. So, hey, Michelle, it's so good to see you. We had a podcast that we did together about health and wellness. And at one point, I was going to put some videos together and show some of the videos of like Polo on my panel and stuff like that. But then, to be honest, I've been dealing with my own grief without really getting into it too deep. And death seems to be like almost a trigger for me. And if people on YouTube are passing away as fast as people in our real lives are passing away, basically, all I'm saying is, if it's somebody and you don't like me, that's cool, no problem. I know how to move around. But if I've wronged you in some type of way and you want to have a conversation with me, the link is there, or you can always reach out. My phone number, all that stuff is in my description. Now, if you've come for my children, it's to the dirt. But if it's anything other than that, I can have a conversation. And I'm saying that because, and I'm not going to get too deep into it, but Unique, which was very close to Crystal, I had introduced them to some years back or whatever. I had introduced them, and they became very close and stuff like that. And so when Crystal passed away, Unique, which previously me and her had a situation, you know, we went back and forth or whatever. And even though I've met her in real life or whatever, so she reached out to me. She called me up, and I always tell people I got the same phone number. I've had the same number since I left Jamaica. And so she reached out to me. I'm not going to really get into our private conversation or whatever, but she basically had a message for me from Crystal. And the thing is, when knowing that happened, and she reached out to me and she had a message from Crystal to me or whatever, then when I got the news of Sees Too Much passing away, and I just keep on remembering me being on a panel and her telling me, I need to talk to you. And now I'll never know what she wanted to talk to me about. But it could have been something that I did that offended her, and she wanted to have a conversation. I don't know what it was. Like, I know I haven't done anything to her, but I could have offended her, or she might have just wanted to shoot the shit. I don't know what she wanted. But it just made me think that I just don't want those situations. You know what I'm saying? I would rather, if somebody has an issue, that we can actually have a conversation about it. We can talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's crazy to me that all these people are passing away. So I said all of that. I said more than what I needed to say, I think, for that time. But I did a podcast, and this was back in December of 2018, and C's was on that podcast. I want to give the disclaimer up front that at the time we did the podcast, she wanted to be anonymous. After that, she had no issue with people knowing that it was her or anything like that. So I don't want y'all to hear me say this person wants to be anonymous, and then people will be like, well, why are you playing it? Right? And it is talking about her upbringing, her childhood, and stuff like that. But I just want to play that basically to remember her life and just give y'all like a little bit into her world that maybe you guys may not know, may have never heard, or anything like that. So that's what I want to play here today. So let me see if I have any comments before I get started. Soul sister, me and you got beef, honey. When this live is over, I need you to come on up here. These people got rabbits on the oh my god, this guy is literally sticking a you know what in his butt and putting his legs up against the wall. Are you kidding me? Oh my god, like why would you do that? That is so disgusting. And they're on, let me ban this person. They're on 3 different accounts. Oh my god, how do I ban? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play that video. And for those who want to stick around and listen, you know, y'all can go ahead and hang out with me. For those who not, you know, don't want to stick around for it, no problem. Thank you for stopping by. I also want to tell you guys that thegreensector.com is officially up. It has been published. I do apologize for taking so long to do it, but I have literally been dealing with life. So the greensector.com is up and it's going. But I'm going to go ahead and play this while I continue to ban these people who are doing disgusting things that I can see them doing. And this is a podcast that I did with me and C's. And like I said, because she saw me and said, I need to talk to you. I really need to talk to you. That's what's got me doing this video, and it's bothering me because I don't want to have this situation with anybody else. You know what I'm saying? It might be something where, you know, we just had one little bump in. If it's not that deep, I'd rather we have a conversation. I don't want to be talking about it in rest in peace videos. Basically, that's what I want to say. So let me go ahead and play this podcast. But do remember, it says private, but she was okay with it after. This is S_Hutchinson, and I'm back with another podcast. I was on vacation, so I did not have one last week. Today, I have a caller who wants to remain anonymous, and we have to respect that. She's going to talk about her experience being in a group home. Okay? So, the first thing I want to ask you is what led to you being placed in a group home?
My mother and my father were both on drugs. I was staying with my grandmother. My grandmother got sick, and someone had to take care of me, and neither one of them were mentally nor financially fit to. So I had to go into the system.
Now, while you were in the system, do you feel like, I mean, did you have any animosity towards your parents for having you there, or how did you feel about that?
I had animosity towards the whole situation. It's not even me having animosity towards my parents. I had animosity towards my parents, my sister, the group home, the system, everything in general, because I felt like, why me?
Right. Now, let me tell you, did you get anything positive out of being in the group home? As far as like education, skills, domestic chores and things like that. Did you learn anything while you were there?
Well, you always have to do chores, so, you learn that naturally coming up as a kid. I did learn how to play steel drum. I learned how to crochet, like basic minimal stuff. I learned how to skate from my cousins and stuff. The little bit of positivity I did get was I learned. I did create a couple of friends, but other than that, no, not really.
So you don't think you really had true friendships within the group home?
I think I had a few true friendships, but once you leave a particular place, there's no guarantee you're ever going to see these people ever again in life. Some people, they leave off campus, they get out the system, they choose to just erase all memory of it. Others just want to act like it never happened, or they're too good in the streets.
Now, how were you treated by the staff? Was it respectful, or did the staff treat you like you were just another number and a paycheck from the government, or did you feel any kind of?
When I first got there, I had a problem with one staff member. She tried to restrain me. She tried to put my arm behind my hand because I didn't want to go to class one day. And the next day, I did detention, whatever, and the next day I called my sister, and my sister came up there. And after that, I never had problems with any staff member ever again.
So you never suffered any abuse at the group home?
No, but I know people who have.
Can you tell us maybe a couple of stories that you might have witnessed or things that you've seen as far as abuse or what you would call neglect in the group home?
Well, I know for a fact there were two girls up there that were being molested by one particular staff member. One of the girls passed away, and the other one, she just went. She's not mentally certified as crazy, but she's crazy. And the thing about it is, his wife, who he's been married to, his wife still backs him up on it. Like, oh, my husband didn't do anything to y'all. Y'all just feel because y'all came up and messed up situations that y'all have the right to take it out on my husband. But lady, here it is. We're grown. We're 40-something years old, 40 plus, and we're still telling you the same story. A story's going. If someone is lying, somebody's going to change their story up a couple of times since then, and these stories have stayed the same.
Now, I am curious, when you were in these foster homes, how was there as far as security? Did they have police officers, security officers? Like, what did they do to ensure your safety? Did they have any type of security?
No.
With that being said, so you had no way to be secure while you were in this group home, knowing that you were there with other kids all the way
anywhere between 6 and 18 years old.
When it comes to housing, how did that work? Were you in a bunk? Were you in rooms with other youths or what?
Right. The particular campus I was on, they all had cottages. Cottages are like small houses. It can't be more than like 20 kids to one cottage. And they all have you in rooms. The room will look like a regular room. It's just 3 beds. You got, a bed, a dresser. You here have your own TV. The TV is always down in the activity room. But it wasn't a bedroom. A bug bed situation.
Now, I know a foster home or group home is not ideal for anybody, or any living situation that someone would be looking forward to. And I would just like to know, I'm sure you had some pluses and you had some minuses, but some of the things that you speak of, especially when it came to not having adequate security,
to ensure that your safety was okay, not just by other youths, but also, the staff. How do you feel about that? Is there any, minuses, pluses, anything that you want to add that you feel that you got out of being in a group home?
Honestly, my answer for that is, I know there are some parents out here who weren't born to be parents, who aren't meant to be parents. So in that aspect, if your child has to go to the system, maybe the system is the best thing for your child. But if you have a fighting chance to get your child back, or if you have the mental capacity to want to get your life together to get your kids back, get your kids back. Because at the end of the day, your kid will be nothing but a number and a check to the system.
Now, I do understand that you are an adult now, and it has been a while since you were in the system. But realistically, I know that there has to be some memory, something in the back of your head that's probably traumatic for you, or something that didn't make you feel good. What is the one emotion or feeling that you have to this day that still resonates with you about being in the system?
I have to experience that as a child. For a minute, and sometimes I have depression and anxiety because I have to deal with my own issues. And I think maybe being in that situation is what brought the depression and the anxiety on.
Did you forgive your parents? Because we all know that people do try to judge people that use drugs, but we know that it's substance abuse, and it's hard for some people to stop. So once you left the foster home and you were back with your family, did you still have animosity towards them because of what they did, or were you able to forgive your mother and father for having you placed within the system?
Okay, when I first got there, I was upset with everybody. I was upset with my parents. I was upset with my older sister. I was upset with the system in general because I just didn't want to be there. But as a child, and I'm thinking how I thought when at this period of time, school came around and I needed school clothes. The place where I was didn't have the school clothes that I wanted. So I reached out to my parents and they got it, and that's what gave me the ability to forgive them.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds materialistic, but it is what it is.
I don't view it as you being materialistic. I think that you might have looked at it as a form of love and also getting some attention from your parents. Now, granted, they were able to get you clothes and things like that you wanted or needed, but I feel like deep down inside, it still had to be a traumatic experience for you to then get this material things from your parents. But then at the end of the day, you still have to go back to this home and stay there for good.
Of course, it was traumatic for me. I mean, it was traumatic because I didn't want to be up there. Like, it was times, I had an aunt that literally lived 15 minutes away from the place, and I would just walk off campus, and I would stay at my aunt's house for like 4 or 5 days, 4 or 5 hours every day, unless I went on a weekend pass. And would you believe I used to get made fun of because I still had family members, which after a while, I used to sit there and say, y'all are crazy, because how are you going to clown me? Because at least I know where my family is. Some of you haven't. I mean, and I've said it just the way I'm saying it. Some of you haven't seen your family since you've been up here, but you want to make fun of me? Right. But, yeah, I mean, I had animosity of me towards it because, like I said, why am I in this situation? If I have a family that, quote-unquote, claims to love me, I can, quote-unquote, leave here anytime I want to. Why do I still have to come back here?
Now, let me ask you this. What was the age limit of the children in the group home?
Anywhere between 6 and 18 years old.
And was it all girls, or was it mixed with boys and girls?
It was boys and girls.
Okay. Now, if it was mixed with boys and girls, were there sexual relationships going on amongst?
Yes. Somebody got pregnant on that campus at 8 years old.
Oh, my Jesus. Okay.
I mean, I don't mean to laugh at it, but yeah, somebody did. A couple of people got pregnant on that campus. One of my roommates was pregnant, and I was looking at her like, girl, you getting kind of heavy there. She, sure enough, was pregnant.
So then that makes me go ahead and ask the question, was there a lot of security? Were they monitoring things that you guys were doing? Or were you guys just, just running loose and getting to do what you wanted to do when you wanted to do it, as long as you were on the campus?
But you could literally, it was a gas station that sold 40s a mile down. People were leaving off campus, buying 40s, going to drink them in the nature center, and coming back on campus running reckless like it was the thing to do.
Oh my goodness.
It's an entrance, it's a back entrance, and it's a front entrance. You can walk out either way to get off campus. There was no security, anything. There was a house there. It was supposed to be owned or lived in by the person who was supposed to be like the head cottage campus or head cottage parent, but it's easy to get around that. It's easy to sneak around the home and get off campus when it's a bus stop right in front of campus.
Right. So did you ever have any staff come to you in any kind of way that was not, acceptable? I know you spoke about the lady, manhandling you as far as going to class, but did you ever have any men or even women that worked, adults that worked there that might have said some things to you or did any things that were not acceptable?
As a matter of fact, yes, I do. You just made me think about something. Okay. The first time they tried to take me off that specific campus, they tried to put me in a group home in Brooklyn. My thinking was, I don't want to be in a group home. I want to be home. So I let them drive me off from Brooklyn. The supervisor of the group home in Brooklyn took me to my room, watched me unpack my stuff, and as soon as he left for the afternoon, I packed my stuff up and I went straight back to my mother's house. And they tried to take me back, and I just wouldn't go. Wouldn't go. So after that, my mother had to go back upstairs. Go back to the campus, and it was a big meeting or whatever, whether they were going to set me back into that specific residential treatment, or they were going to put me in another one, or just leave me with my mother. The college parent that I used to have at the first campus that I was in, my caseworker said, well, she's not Grand Wyndham material anymore because obviously she has some place to go. Girl, the lady said she's not anybody's material, and I just broke fool.
Now, while you were in the group home, you told me that you had a best friend. Do you think having a best friend and someone close to you made it a little bit easier for you to cope with being in the group home? Do you think it made a difference to you at all?
It made it easier, but then again, it didn't, because she's one of the people who I've seen some gross things happen to.
Oh, wow.
Would you care to elaborate on some of the things you saw?
Okay, every month they'll have 2 senior cottage parents come around, check paperwork, and count all the heads that were in a group, that were in one specific cottage, or they'll interview you one-on-one to see how you dealing with coping. Every time this one man came around, my friend would break down and cry and cry and cry and cry and cry and cry. Cry. And every time she would go in the office, for some reason, me and another one of my friends would realize that they will always close the door.
Okay.
She would stay in that room for about maybe a good 30 minutes to 45 minutes. After she come out the room, she run back upstairs and she cried for the rest of the night, and nobody knew what it was until someone spoke up about it. She tried it with somebody else and she just went ballistic.
People listening who they have their children in the system, and they may either be trying to get their kids back, or they might not be trying to get their kids back. What advice would you have for anybody who right now does not have custody of their children and their children are with the state? What would you say to them?
Like I say, as people, I already know that there's people who were born not to be parents. If you're one of those people, you know, the only thing I can just tell you is pray for your child. Pray for your child's safety, your child's physical safety. Pray for their mental health and things like that, because this stuff, it affects them when they get older. It really does affect them when they get older. If you're trying to get custody of your kids, fight. Do not let the system tell you that, oh, you're an unfit parent, because the system is unfit itself.
I agree with you with that.
All they want you, all your kid looks like to them is a number and a check.
Right.
You might think that the system is taking care of your kids. They're really not. They really don't care about your kids. I mean, I've seen some cottage parents take some kids and treat them like they treat their own. Meanwhile, they sit there and they shun the next kid. Like I told y'all, it was a campus with kids from 6 to 18 years old. You can have a child, 11-year-old child. A cottage parent says something wrong to them, or the little kid does something wrong. Cottage parent turns around and pay an 18-year-old $50 to $100 buy a pair of sneakers, and I want you to beat him up. Wait, and I've also seen a girl get sliced in her face up there. Like, they had to get that. Like, she was on the verge of getting adopted, and the girl who did it to her, we already knew she was a hot mess anyway. I'll never forget it happened on a Saturday morning. I was coming down the stairs and I seen that girl coming, and I was like, you better move because there's something in her hand. And all I know was I blinked, and when I turned around, all you seen was all the blood in that girl's face. That girl's foster mother threatened to sue the crap out that campus. They had to get that girl off that campus.
Now, I know this. I know there are times when people stay in foster homes, group homes, whatever. Did they make sure that you had all the essentials? Because as you said, your family was still involved, but there were other people there whose family were not involved. Did they make sure that you had all the things that you needed as being a young female? You're going to need sanitary napkins. You're going to need
they
things.
make sure you have. They make sure that you have all that. They already had like an infirmary already on the campus just in case someone got sick. Every month they had a big truck that will come around and give you your toothpaste, your sanitary napkins, your rags, your towels. They had a clothing room in the bottom of the administration, which I never went in there. Like, they used to hate me because I'm not wearing that. I'm not wearing that. I mean, it's this one coat, and I'm pretty sure everyone's seen this coat. I hated that coat. It seemed like every little girl on that campus had that one coat, and I just refused.
Right.
But as far as you're in a group home and a residential treatment center, they have to make sure that your child has all the essentials. As far as foster homes, no. I can say that I've seen some foster parents take the money that they get every 2 weeks or every month, put it in their pocket, and the kid just lives like, oh well, you got to fend for yourself.
Have you ever been with a foster parent before?
Yes, I've dealt with a foster parent. My first foster parent, I loved a lot. But like I told you, I had a family, and I chose to be with my family.
Right.
And she couldn't. She actually gave my mother a whole lot of props for that, because she said I've had kids in my house forever, and she said your daughter is the only one that I could say stayed in my child. I think I was in that lady's house for 6 months, and then after that I was done with it.
The fact that you have been in a foster home as well as a group home, some parents don't have an option. They have to go with whatever the state has ruled. What would you advise, for someone in that position? Do you think it's better to be in a foster home, or do you think the group home is a better environment?
It's up to the parent to choose. I think you need to vet or be a part of the vetting system of who takes care of your kids. If not, find somebody in your family that you know is responsible, so that way you'll have access to your children. Even if they'll tell you, well, since I got custody of them, you can't see them. Yes, you can.
Right.
Don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't see your child, because yes, you can.
So none.
And then I find.
Go ahead.
And then I find that a majority of the time, people who tell children, oh, well, you're not allowed to see X, Y, Z, the child's going to turn around and go see the person anyway.
Right.
You got to let a kid figure it out on their own.
Now, Benzo, of course, you're no longer an adolescent. What things, that happened in the group home has helped you as an adult to be the person that you are today? Because I know some of that stuff had to resonate, and you're like, because I went through this, I'm going to be this way, or I refuse to do that.
In fact, like, no, you're not going to bully me. Like, Like, I let a person talk as much yin, yin, yang as they want to, but if you think that you're going to try to force me to do something, or you're going to come in my face or violate my space in general, no. Because I've seen, like I told you, I've seen stuff that I wasn't even supposed to see. Like, I shouldn't be witnessing a little girl get sliced in her face.
Hearing stories like that, it just kind of makes me feel like this group home was almost a fend for yourself. And of course, it wasn't a lot of staff that actually cared or monitoring what was going on. So I just want to go ahead and talk about food. How did things work out when it came down to nutrition?
Oh, they feed you. They feed you. They give you so much milk to where it's not even funny, but they feed you. Well, they have to feed you.
Well, we know even with school, you get school lunch, which my son refuses to eat. So was it like school lunch, prison food, or was it good home-cooked meals?
It was school lunch, prison school food, year-round except for holidays. And in the summer, and like for the 4th of July, or when they do cookouts, or when like the alumni wanted to come out and like brag about what they've accomplished since they've gotten off campus and stuff like that. Yeah, and 9 times out of 10, the alumni buy the food, not the exact residential treatment center. But other than that, no, you're gonna get I would say it's a step above prison food, a step above.
Okay, so a step above prison food. Wow. Okay. So now, Benzo, you
had a little bit of seasoning.
All right, we're halfway through. I'm just going to pause real quick. I thank everybody who has stuck around this long. I am playing a podcast that I did back in December 2018 with me, and I know her as Sees Too Much. I know that she changed her name, and this era of YouTube knows her as Fresh Pressed Juice. It's a podcast that we did, and at first she wanted to remain anonymous. But after she did it, she was just telling me how much she enjoyed doing it, how happy she was that she did it. And she got to talk about a lot of things, and she was hoping that it would help somebody. So I just wanted to share this video in honor of her memory. And I was also stating that the last time that I saw her in the chat, she was saying she needed to talk to me. I don't know what she needed to talk to me about. It could have been anything. And I just want people to know that if y'all need to talk to me about anything, I'm always here for a conversation. It don't have to be a friendship. If it's just a question, you can ask me. If I've offended you, we can have a conversation. But if you come for my children, or you said some crazy stuff about my family, then it's a wrap. But anything other than that, we can talk about it. Okay, so I'm gonna continue to play this. And like I said, people see each other in chats, and you talk and you communicate, but sometimes you don't really get to know the person. And I think this video digs a little deeper and lets you know more about who she was. So here we go. Hey, TC.
A little bit of seasoning. Okay. Now, with you being a parent yourself, if you were in a situation where your child had to go within the system, what would you do? Because you've experienced
Call
it.
her father. Call her father.
Call her father. Okay. Well, that's good that the father would be available. Being in the system, whether it was a foster home or a group home, you've seen a lot, you experienced a lot, you have been through a lot, and I really commend you for being brave enough to tell your story. But one thing that it makes me think about, you are a mother. So is there anything that you can think back on which you've been through that actually has helped you now as being a parent and having a daughter of your own?
What I've learned along the way is you have to talk to your kids. You have to be. I've also learned. Well, I had a real problem with this, but then I had to realize that she also has a father. I don't allow men around my daughter. Like, if I'm dating you, I have to be dating you for a while exclusively for me to even allow you to see my child.
Right.
Education. I'm hard on my daughter about education. I'm also hard on my daughter about, I don't, like, once you get a certain age, I know you're going to have sex, but just wait to have children. These guys are still going to be out here when you get out of college. So it's no rush. Don't mess up your education for some little boy or for somebody that, because you feel that you're in love, and then you turn around and give him some, and the next day he doesn't want you no more. He's on to your friend. So that was instilled in me, but I learned that on my own. And I also learned, like, to teach my daughter self-defense.
Right, to protect herself. We are in 2018. We're living in a world of social media. Everyone has their cell phones out at all times. They tend to vlog a lot of things that some people may view as neglect or unstable. You know, you have parents who are potty training their kids, or they got them in the bathtub, or I mean, there's all kind of different things that are being captured on camera and posted on the internet. What would you have to say to mothers who are out here and their life is not so stable, but they choose to put it on social media?
If something happens to you when you're in that situation and all you have is your phone, please do record it.
So they should be recording themselves going through hard times?
Yes. If somebody puts their hands on you, and if somebody of authority puts their hands on you in a way that you know is not deemed fit for you or society, yes, by all means report it. Because at the end of the day, if he's doing it to you and he's getting away with it, he's going to keep doing it, or he's been doing it.
Right. But now when it comes to the parents who have their children on the internet and they're doing things that are unfit, how do you feel about that? Do you think that could lead their children into the same system that you were into?
Of course it is going to lead their child into the same system that I was led into. But like I said, some people are not born to be parents. If you're one of those parents that you know for a fact that you're abusive, I think maybe you should just find somebody that you know that is deemed fit to take care of kids and give your child over to them. Because at the end of the day, your child's going to suffer, you're going to suffer, and trust me, karma is no joke. Karma comes around. The same way you mess up that child's life, your life is going to be messed up.
Right. And also, too, a lot of people think of abuse as just physical abuse. But there's also mental abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse. I mean,
definitely financial abuse.
Yes, you have all different kinds of abuse. So, you know, the reason why I said that, and I just want to say this myself, sometimes I see parents on YouTube in particular, and they have smaller children. They're showing them in the bathtub. They're showing them potty training. All those type of things can lead CPS at your front doorstep and have your children taken away from you.
Not only that, you don't know what grown-ass pedophile is watching you.
Right.
Mm-hmm. stop twerking in front of your kids, because I've seen, oh man, I was on Twitter a couple of days ago and the Shark song came on and the little girl grabbed the wall and started twerking. She literally grabbed the wall and the baby had to be no older than 2-3 years old. I wanted to throw my phone. Like, what are you doing? And then you're filming it, and then you wonder why you're either getting made fun of, or you're getting called out your name, or your kid is coming outside and somebody's laughing at your child. That's your fault. You set the tone for your child.
I am extremely protective when it comes to my children, especially with social media. And when you put yourself on a public platform, you give the people the right to dig into your life, get all up in your business. So for me personally, I don't put my children on social media, although I have 2 grown children, so it's a little bit different there. But then I have a minor child who's 16 years old, and I just see a lot of times parents doing things that it's like, do you understand that you are basically opening up an open invitation to finding yourself with some issues with CPS, or even worse, some sick, twisted person?
I think it's more of the people think that it's not going to happen to them.
I have one of my day one supporters who is a social worker, and I think some people forget, and when they get on the internet, they think that everything is roast and gags because people are laughing and kikiing. But for some people, they clock in every day, and this is what they do. They do social work. They take kids out of homes that they deem not fit for them. Sometimes you never know who's really listening. And I know that there may be a young child that comes across this video and they may feel like there's no hope for them. And when you were in that predicament, you might have felt like there was no light at the end of the tunnel. But now moving forward, you're in your own place, you have your child, you have your husband, you have all of these things. So if there's anything that you could say to these young youths who have gotten caught up and they are in the system and they might not feel like things will ever get better, what would you say to them?
You have to love yourself, and you're not the only one in this situation. Other people, the group home has started out in the 1800s. It started out at home. You're not the only person in this situation. You have to love yourself through this whole. It's not easy, but you have to love yourself, and you have to tell people to respect you, because people will take your circumstances and they will throw it in your face at any moment. Even the same people that's in the same home with you. You have to instill some type of self-respect, love for yourself, and therefore you'll have that type of, you won't even have to tell anybody respect you or love you, because they'll see it coming off of you already.
Right. Basically, what you have to do is you have to command respect. Some people think that they have to demand respect, but when you command respect, you carry yourself in a way where people already know, don't even go there with me. Don't even play those games with me.
And also, you have the right to defend yourself.
Absolutely.
Don't let tell you that, oh, you shouldn't hit this person back, because let's be real, kids are getting jumped.
Right.
Staff is literally putting their hands on kids who don't belong to them. You have the right to defend yourself.
That breaks my heart to hear that, because these people have these jobs to help children, but instead they are abusing their job title and things like that. So it's just sad to know that these kids are in homes, but the people who are supposed to be there to protect them are actually abusing them in different ways.
My little sister works for ACS, and she gets on. She'll tell you in a minute when she gets that call, when she literally has to remove a child from their home. She gets in her car and she'll cry before she'll do it. She says she'll make sure that she brings the police with her, because she said she doesn't, it's bad enough she doesn't want to have to be the person to take nobody from their parents. She was like, I don't want to be the person to have to snatch a child from their parents. That's why I take the police from them. But at the same time, I sit there and I cry because I don't want to do this.
Right.
She'll tell you it's not cute, it's not fun. It's nothing funny. It's nothing funny about that shit.
So I'm gonna add some information here about myself. I have previously worked in nursing homes, and what I saw there was a lot of abuse, a lot of neglect, and even myself, I felt like I neglected some of my patients because you would have 8 rooms per one person, and it would just be impossible to give them the proper treatment. So I decided to go ahead and become a certified home health aide because I figured that way I could be working one-on-one with a patient in the home and I could give them the proper care that they needed. So when I was taking my class, which was in Washington, D.C., it was me and another student by the name of Tanya. And we had did really good. We were really into it and everything. And so the teacher pulled us to the side and she says, well, we have another class for CPS. And that's Child Protecting Services. I know depending on where you live, CPS, you might not know what that means, or it may be called something else wherever you are, but Child Protecting Services here. And she said, I want you to take this class because I think you will be wonderful at doing it. And I thought about it, but not very long, and I declined. And I said, I am a true Pisces. I am very emotional. I'm very passionate. I wear my heart on my sleeve. And when it comes to children and stuff like that, I just can't be the one to go in there and take them away from their parents. And sometimes they need to be taken away. I said, but if I go in the home and I don't have all the evidence, but I know in the back of my mind this child shouldn't be here, that's going to affect me because I am a empath. So what my teacher explained to me was, she said, when it comes to CPS, the last resort is taking the child out of the house. If the house is dirty, basically you try to teach the mother skills where she can take dish detergent and bleach and clean the whole house. She can take a little bit of rice and some ground beef and scrap up a meal. So when children are taken out of the house, it is because the parent has refused to do anything that they have been asked to do by the state. And that is still something that haunts me to the day, because I do have a story time about my neighbor who was 4 years old and was murdered and killed by her brother. And sometimes I feel like had I took that class, maybe I could have helped in a better way. Although I did, I have no shame of saying I called CPS. And maybe I'll drop that story time down below.
Did y'all hear that?
But it's something that I can't really talk about
When I call, I can
again,
say
because
it.
it still to this day affects me tremendously. It does. Now, moving past that story right there, I also want to say to any young girls or boys who find yourself in this situation where you have now become, I'll call it, property of the state, be very mindful of the people that you allow around you, because I know, especially when it comes to young girls, you will have these older guys, more than likely, who will tell you, hey, you can come live with me. I'll take care of you. I'll take care of all your needs. You don't have to worry about food. You don't have to worry about clothes. You don't have to worry about shelter. I'm going to love you. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But I will tell you now that when you have a man take care of you, and especially if there's an age difference, they are basically trying to prey on your situation. And with money comes power. So basically they have power over you, and you might end up being in a worse situation than the group home that you are in. So I do not suggest that girls try to go AWOL and run off with, some guy that they met, or someone who whispers sweet things in their ears. I know it's not easy being in a foster home, group home, foster home, whatever it is. I have never been in one, but I can only imagine that it's not easy. But please be very careful of those type of things. They have sex traffickers, they have all kind of things that are going on. And if there's ever a time that you feel unsafe, whether it's with someone you're communicating with on the outside, or whether it is somebody that works actually in the institution, to reach out and tell somebody. And you might feel like nothing's going to get done, but continue to talk about it and reach out to somebody and get some type of help. But running to a guy to save the day is not going to be the answer, because I think that will most likely only make things that much worse.
Always gonna want, and they gonna want something in return.
They're going to want a whole lot of something in return. They probably will abuse you in return. They'll probably throw up in your face about, look what I've done for you. And it will not end up being a good situation. If you are a teen and you have found yourself in this position, please know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, these dark days will not last forever, but I do want to stress the fact of, do not be afraid to speak up and speak out. Now, if speaking out is going to have you in more danger, find other ways to speak out and still protect yourself. The last thing that I want to say is thank you so much to my caller, because I know that there are so many people who are in this situation. There may be some mothers who have lost their children to the state and they think that everything is all good. Maybe this will be some type of motivation for them to get up, try to get their kids back in their life, get their life straightened out. If there is a substance abuse problem, maybe they'll try to receive treatment for that. If there's a young girl out here and she's pregnant, having a baby, she doesn't know what to do, as a product of the system, being in there, as we talked about, then being pregnant, stay encouraged and know that, I tell people all the time, I sin and I grin, but at the end of the day, I believe in a higher power. So if you do not have that, now is the time to get started and leave your faith in the man up above and continue to try to do your schoolwork, to do everything that you can do so that you can be a productive adult when you get out of the system, and so that you do not repeat the cycle when it comes down to your children. So that is all I want to say, with the exception of thank you to my caller. Thank you for calling in. I am honored that I got a chance to do this podcast with you, and I hope this reaches somebody that needs to get this message. I will see you guys next Friday for another podcast.
All right, so that is the end of that. I played it in its entirety. I'm gonna wait and see if you guys have any questions at all for me. If not, I will end it. I do know that just in situations that I have dealt with, I know that nobody likes to think about death and nobody likes to think about these situations, but you really have to have stuff written down. You have to have a will. You have to have, in the state of Maryland, there's something called My 5 Wishes. That's something else you can look into. But just taking care of certain things. And if you don't want to take care of that stuff while you're here, letting your family know exactly what you want. So there's no confusion between your family. There's also no guilt with you saying, well, I cremated them, but they wanted to be buried, or I buried them and they wanted to be cremated. Just get all your affairs in order. And I know it's not easy, but I'm telling you, it's even harder when you lose somebody and you're the one that has to take care of all of their affairs. You know what I'm saying? And especially when it's, a sudden death or something like that, it's a lot to deal with. And none of us wants to talk about it. But the one thing that's guaranteed to us all, and I don't care what sector you're in, thank you, Jin, is death. That is the one thing that's promised to each and every one of us. We're all going to leave here. And that's why, even though when I do crazy stuff and I'll get in with the drama and all that, I still won't go but so far. I try not to, because I know having a relationship with the higher power comes with accountability. And I know one day, I believe in my heart, no matter what nobody else believes, I believe in my heart that one day I'm going to stand before God. And when I stand before him, I will have to be accountable for everything that I do here on this earth. And the reason why when I feel like I've done something wrong to somebody or I've offended somebody, like April, if she's still here, I apologize to April, not once, not twice, not 3 times, probably 4 or 5 times. Because I try to do what I feel like is right in my heart. Things that I can live with. Or people that I care about. So I'm just saying, like, I don't want anybody else to leave here and they wanted to have a conversation with me and didn't have that conversation, no matter what the conversation was going to be. It could have been good, bad, in between. But at the end of the day, we're all adults. And at least I'm thinking is that we can actually talk and have a conversation. So I'm leaving this out here for anybody that's still breathing and living. If there's anything that you need to say to me, all my links, all my information is posted down below. You can reach out to me and we can have a conversation. I would rather do that than to have regrets. You know what I mean? And I don't think there's nobody else that I feel like I owe an apology to or anything like that. But I just think that all of these people passing, it's truly a wake-up call. It really is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even when you get off, you're not focused on what you need to be focused on. This type of shit makes you get right back into what really fucking matters. And a lot of this shit, it just don't matter when you really think about it. Because when it's time to leave this earth, you're not going to be thinking about you spent motherfucking 10 hours straight on motherfucking YouTube arguing with some people you ain't never going to fucking see. That's crazy. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? The time that we have here is very short. Very short. Very short. I lost a family member that just turned 22 years old on their birthday. That's how life is short. I talked here in this podcast about a funeral I went to and a little girl was 4 years old. Life is short. Life is short. So at the end of the day, we can all be here for the mess and for the drama. And I'll probably be with it later on today or tomorrow. Probably. I ain't even gonna lie about it. But at the end of the day, we do got to take some time and just focus. We have to take some time and focus on what really matters. And a lot of this stuff, I'm telling you, it don't matter. A lot of this stuff ain't even real beef. Because if it was real beef, these people wouldn't even be watching each other. You don't watch people that you hate. You don't listen to people that you hate. You don't do commentary on people that you hate. People that you hate, you ignore. You don't speak to, you don't speak of, you don't sit with, you don't hang around, none of that. Hey, Programmer, Glamour, and Lady K. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, life is short, y'all. That's just all I want to say. Life is short, and make sure that you're spending some time with the people who matter. The people who see the people. Let me tell you, when I end this live, like I'm about to end it in a couple of minutes. When I end this live in a couple of minutes, the people in this house, even down to my cat, the people in this house, they don't give a fuck how many fucking subscribers is in here watching me. But see, it'll be people on YouTube that's calculating how many numbers and numbers and numbers and numbers. The people in this house don't care if 5,000 people come in here and watch me. They're going to love me no matter what. They love me when I'm right. They love me when I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? They love me when I'm sick, when I'm well. So at the end of the day, I owe it to them to give them that quality time. So when y'all on here with the mess and the foolishness, it's cool. But you don't want to leave this earth today or tomorrow and wish that you had some extra memories with your family or with your friends. Because I'm telling you, the guilt from that shit is enough to make you have a bunch of fucking sleepless nights. Regret. And regret is a huge part of grief. It's something that I had to deal with even with my own grief. And that's why with my friends and with my family, when I'm around them, I make sure that we're always laughing, we're having a good time. And even when the mood is a little somber, and even when we feel in a certain type of way, we still receive and treat each other with fucking love. I don't walk away from anybody, down to my brothers, my father, my kids. I don't get off that phone without saying, I love you. To my husband, because you don't know. You cannot take it for granted and think that you're going to tell them later on that you love them or how much you care about them or you appreciate what they do for you. You don't know. You don't know. I had a family member that literally went to sleep and never woke up again. So that's not something where somebody's sick and it's taking them weeks and months and months and months to get better. I mean, they just literally, they here one day and they gone the next. I guarantee you they thought that they had time. I can tell by the things that they didn't do and the things that they didn't take care of that they thought they had time. And time is the most precious gift. It's priceless. You can't pay for it. But we take for granted time. And I truly pray for Sees Too Much and her family, her daughter, Crystal and her family. I haven't forgotten about Polo, her wife, and her family, and to everybody who's watching me right now or might watch this replay that has lost somebody. I pray that you can continue to heal and deal with your grief and just hold on to your memories. Life is short, y'all. Seriously. Okay. Yeah, try to be kind because you never know. Like when you listen to this or people go back and listen to this replay and you listen to her life and a lot of the things she had to deal with. And it's funny, sometimes we just bypass people in chats, you know, and you might just be laughing and cutting up in the chat. But that's why whenever I go into anybody's room, I don't care who it is. It could be my first visit or my 1000th visit. I always speak to the host, panel, in the chat. Half the people in the chat can hate me. I still speak because you don't know that you might be the first person that has spoke to them all goddamn day. You might be the first person that told them have a good day or enjoy your weekend. Right? And everybody know when they tell me they love me, I always say I love you more. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this. And I probably change the title up a little bit because you know how people are over here. But yeah, life is short. Love on your family members and spend that quality time with them. Don't get too caught up in the social media thing, you know, because the time that we have here, we're on borrowed time. All right. I'll see you guys in my next video. Next video, I'll probably be showing you guys the book bags. Yes. And the greensector.com is available. Greensector.com. And Soul Sister, I'm gonna need you to call me or like probably tomorrow or Tuesday. Okay, I'm gonna be needing to talk to you. I don't have your number, no contacts. Okay, give me a call. Love you all and enjoy your extended weekend. Bye-bye.